So, welcome to the podcast. I'm so honored to have JLD of Entrepreneur on Fire today. Welcome.
Jennifer, it's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
I'm really excited because you kind of started my journey. You've been a mentor that you haven't known about for years, probably like many people. And I feel like you're the king of value content. Meaning that you serve people with a ton of free content that most coaches would be like, you're crazy. Do you think that's part of your ticket to this big empire of success that you've created?
I really do. I think that if you can solve real problems for people on a massive scale, like you'll get yours. You will get yours, whatever that looks like for you. If you really try to kind of nitpick your way along, then, I think you're always going to kind of be picking along the bottom of the barrel. And there's a great quote by Seth Godin that I've always loved. And it's always about, people asking, what should I price this? What should I price that? What should I charge for my time? And, a lot of times people get into these like price battles where they're just kind of undercutting each other. And his quote is so eloquent. It is, the problem with the race to the bottom is that you just might win. And man, you do not want to win that race because it is not a race worth winning. So, let Walmart and Costco, be in a fight to the race to the bottom. You provide massive value and you'll get yours.
Oh, let's take a moment for that because that's huge. And again, that's one of the things that I looked up to and wanted to be in your space with is that you're doing things differently. Between that and I have to know, what's this superpower in those daily shows? Because I refer my clients to you all the time and I'm like, he's doing this daily show. You would be able to drop these nuggets. And we're building up some steam with that. What's your superpower in that? Because you were, I think, one of the first to actually do the daily show, right?
I was the first daily podcast interviewing entrepreneurs. And so I like to say, the day that I launched, I was the best daily podcast interviewing entrepreneurs. I was the worst daily podcast interviewing entrepreneurs. I was the only daily podcast interviewing entrepreneurs. And so when you can find a way to be the only, you will win. It doesn't matter how small the niche is, because if it's a real solution to a real problem, you are going to win, because people will always be the path to the doorstep of the number one solution to their problem, and they will ignore the second best solution to eternity. So keep that in mind as you're building your empire. Be the best.
Be the best.
And again, don't be scared by that. So I'm not saying be the best, motivational speaker in the world. Like Gary Vaynerchuk's got that locked up. Tony Robbins has got that locked up. I'm saying be the best solution to a real problem. And there are so many problems out there that don't have amazing solutions. You find it and you become the best.
And what would you say you're the best? I know, but some of my listeners might not know you yet. What is that for you?
I honestly believe it's that. I'm the best daily podcaster interviewing entrepreneurs, because I've been doing it for 10 years, 3,700 episodes, 140 million listens, over 2 million listens every single month. And I just get up and I put out great content to my audience every single day. And I have the team around me that allows me to work 1 day per week to make that happen.
Okay. You need to repeat that for those in the back that didn't hear that. 1 day per week.
Yes. I work 1 day per week on Entrepreneurs on Fire. Now I'm doing other things like, today I'm being interviewed by you and a bunch of other people on other shows. Another day I might be focusing on, Podcaster's Paradise or a product or a service or an affiliate. So, I'm, working more than 1 day a week, but I'm only working on Entrepreneurs on Fire 1 day per week.
I'm like, mic drop. Is there more to be said? There is. But so what would you say to the podcaster that's, in my range, or maybe even the brand new podcaster where we're getting maybe 1,000 downloads, but we want to create what I call the tsunami impact, because we know that ripple is not good enough for us.
I'd say, can you look in the mirror right now And can you ask yourself the question, what am I the number one solution to? And can you answer that question? Because if you can't answer that question, you're in the vast majority of people, and you're just blending in to everybody else who are essentially doing and saying the same things. I mean, you go on Instagram, you go on TikTok, you listen to most podcast interviews, everybody's just regurgitating what everybody's saying. So it's just one big regurgitation of the exact same, handful of phrases and quotes and fill in the blanks. But when those individuals can honestly look in the mirror and say, I am the number one solution to this real problem, and I am providing that solution to an audience every single day, those are people that are winning.
So it all goes back to that same thing, is providing the content. What actually made me drawn to you was that value add. So somebody who's struggling and in that sea of being lost with everyone else, what's that little thing that you would suggest or you have done? There's got to be a reason why it's podcast paradise, because there's got to be this piece to pull it back to, okay, well, what is my one thing?
So I wrote a book. It's called The Common Path to Uncommon Success. And I wrote the book because it is an individual journey. It's an individual path that everybody must go on, because the parts of the journey that are the most important to make it your journey have only to do with you, your passions, your enthusiasms, your excitements, your areas of expertise, your skill level, the experience. All of these things that are uniquely you are the starting points, are the necessary ingredients for you to come out with what I call your zone of fire. So within the book, The Common Path to Uncommon Success, that's where I take people through. What is your big idea? What does that look like? Okay, guess what? You think you're done now, because that's where most people stop, is their big idea. You've just started step one of a 17-step journey to financial freedom and fulfillment. And then step 2, step 3, step 4, they're all getting you one step down that path closer to what you're talking about right now, Jennifer. And so it's a very unique individual journey that everybody needs to go on, but I lay it all out for you within that book, because I, over 10 years, have studied 3,700 plus successful entrepreneurs and how they went down their path and their journey to get to their version of success. And I was able to take those 17 common elements, put them in the correct order, and lay it out for people.
And of those 17 steps, what do you think is the most common step that we look over?
Step number 2, discovering your niche within your big idea.
Yes. I see that all the time. And there is that power in that micro niche. There's so many questions that I have for that, because we've hit on the topic that I love to speak about too, which is that keep going on the journey, one step at a time, one forward movement at a time. So if you were starting over again, in 2023, would you start with podcasting?
Absolutely. It's a medium that I love. It's one that I resonate with and connect with, but my podcast would be of much different focus.
What does that mean, different focus?
It wouldn't be a podcast that interviews entrepreneurs, because it's just too saturated of a market. Everybody just gets the same entrepreneurs on the show, asks them the same questions, then puts it out there into the universe, and they wonder why they're not having a show that's growing or that's having any meaningful impact. It's just because it's a pale, weak imitation of the shows that have come before it. So I would identify a topic that I'm incredibly passionate about, excited about, enthusiastic about, that I have skills, knowledge, and value to give to the world in, and identify a major, major problem that people are having within that, and then create the best solution, and then spend every single day giving that solution to my listeners.
So outside of entrepreneurship and podcasting and building this empire, if you could just do any podcast for fun, what would it be?
It'd probably be a podcast only focused on sleep.
Oh. There's got to be a story behind that. Why sleep?
It's not really a story behind it. It's just that I've come to the realization that sleep is the most critical factor to people's health. And this world gets terrible quantity and quality of sleep.
Hanging my head in shame there. That's one of my top priorities.
You and
this year.
99% of the world, believe me.
So I got to know, how much sleep do you make sure you get every night?
My goal is a minimum of 8 hours, but anytime I'm over that, between 8 to 9 hours is really awesome. I want a minimum of an hour and 30 minutes of deep sleep, 2 hours of REM sleep, and I want my HRV score during the night to be over a 60.
And so
most
that's
of that,
daily.
Yeah, most of that is Greek to people that are listening, which is too bad because it's just the core basics of sleep. But like that would just kind of show you, where I would be really diving into on this podcast around sleep to really make things happen.
I was going to say, I don't even know what those things mean, so I definitely need to jump on.
Yeah. Like,
so that's a daily non-negotiable.
It's a daily non-negotiable. It's the huge focus of my whole day is, kind of structured around, what I'm going to do around bedtime, which is a very structured bedtime as well. And, anybody that comes to me and again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a functional medicine doctor. I don't play one on TV. I just literally learn from them, from the geniuses, and I listen to them, and I pay them to teach me and to guide me, and and I love the fact that I have true experts that I can reach out to, and I have actual questions. But I know when anybody reaches out to me and asks any question, like, John, I just can't lose weight, and I'm like, it's because your quality of sleep is terrible, and you'll never ever be at your desired weight until you're sleeping well. So don't even try. It doesn't stop, running 2 hours a day, stop starving yourself. None of that matters until you've dialed in your sleep.
So what's the one thing for entrepreneurs to have that success? Would it be sleep then?
If we're really going to go there, I would say yes, because without consistent quality sleep, there's no way you're going to be able to keep up with the rigors of what it takes to be an entrepreneur, to stay creative, to stay sharp, to stay enthusiastic, to stay happy, because you'll get depressed if you don't sleep well over a long period of time. Yeah, we can go there.
Oh, all right. Priority for 2023, get better quality sleep. So if you could add any ingredient to the cure for pod fade, what would it be?
Stop trying to be a pale, weak imitation of other podcasts that you're seeing that are successful, and instead find a topic that you are strongly passionate for, have real value to add to the world within that topic, and then do it every single day.
Ooh. And where can people find you?
EOFire.com is where all the magic happens. That's the website. Of course, Entrepreneurs on Fire is the name of the podcast. If you want to subscribe to that on any of your podcast channels. And I really hope that people focus on getting some good sleep in 2023.
I love that.
Watch, all these sleep podcasts are going to start to pop up now. It's going to be awesome.
I know. And I've just, I never thought of that as the key to success, but I'm so grateful for your time. I really appreciate you and everything you're doing.
Thank you, Jennifer.